As fantastic a CFP as Mello is, and as wonderful an attorney as I am, please do note that anything said in our show are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
Are we on right now?
We're on.
Can I start my fucking groove?
Go for it.
Booyah, bitches. Hey guys, welcome to Finance is the Other F Word. You guys, I know I say this a lot, but we have such a great fucking show for you guys. We get the honor and the privilege to interview Ryan Patrick. He is the guitarist of Otherwise, one of the founding members, along with his brother, Adrian Patrick, and he is the founder of the nonprofit Life by Music. And we are streaming live on all of his platforms, and we are so fucking excited to be able to have you on here. Thank you so much for doing this, Ryan. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. It's kind of a fun little hybrid where we're doing it for your guys' podcast that's coming up, but then our fans get a little sneak peek and our friends who jump on. So it's like a fun little thing. I've never done it like this. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I hope that for your fans that are diehard fans, because you guys have cultivated a very dedicated fan base. And I hope that we get to talk about some things that are different today that maybe they haven't heard.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it might seem that talking about finances is going to be boring, but it's not, because I'm awesome and Ryan's awesome and Zoe's awesome. So it's going to be tons and tons of good shit.
And what's the name of your podcast again?
Fuck you. Finance is the other F word. Finance is the other F word. Yes.
Finance is the other F word. Cool. I love it.
Yeah. So now I know for your fans that are tuning in, they already probably know your Genesis story, but for the fans of our show, can you just give us a 5-10 minute breakdown about how Otherwise came to be conceptualized and eventually to the rock gods that you guys are now?
Wow. That's a serious.
Okay. So make it count. Don't be fucking up now.
So my brother wanted to rock and roll, and my big brother Adrian, and he is probably the biggest reason of why we're here with the band Otherwise. I mean, it really is. He wanted it, and he started to go after it very early on in the early 2000s. And I was becoming a teenager. There's about close to a decade or not between us. And he started rock and rolling after our grandmother had passed away. He picked up a guitar and started writing songs and wanted to rock and be on MTV Cribs. So
Nice.
He jumped into a band, started our parents converted our garage into the jam space, and has ever since. Talking about finance and talk about investors, shout out to our parents for being our biggest investors our entire life. So he started rocking and rolling, and I was a young lad, and he's told me, as soon as you hit puberty, you can be in the band too. And so the Otherwise came to life, and he was rocking it, and we just every single day in our parents' garage, growing up in Las Vegas, it's like band practice, and we cut our teeth and spilt blood in the scenes of Las Vegas for many years. And, we kept writing and gaining fans, and, then we signed a record deal. So it's been this slow transcendence, not an easy one by any means, but it's been great. It's had its ups and downs and its struggles, but it's been pretty amazing. So it came to him in a dream when he was thinking of the name of the band, like what someone said, Otherwise. Or someone asked him and he said it in a dream, so it became the name.
I like it. So two questions. First of all, practicing in a garage in Vegas is no joke, you guys, because it is hot as balls here. So I hope you had a swamp cooler or something, or were you just going out there just 110 in the garage sweating?
With all the clothes off.
Yeah.
That's how I'm picturing it.
Yes, I'm picturing it that way too now. Thank you, Joey.
Definitely there was some sweaty times getting ready for Battle of the Bands, and like really we would get in there and it was like it was like time to rehearse. Like we were like a team, and our goal was to get our sound and our music to as many people and just get it out there and just rock it. And yeah, it would get hot, it'd get really hot. But thankfully our parents, again, it was like, sure, use the air conditioning, like let's put one in there and just keep it on all day, don't forget to turn it off there. So yeah.
Wow.
We survived the Vegas summers of rocking and rolling 5-6 days a week for a couple hours a day.
So the Patrick parents were coming in being the venture capitalist of funding this whole thing. And the second, this is kind of an off topic question. How do you know when a boy goes into puberty? Like girls, it's pretty obvious. We make the transition into womanhood, which sucks for the next 40 years. But like,
you're asking me this?
No, I'm asking Brian, like, when did he go, okay, now you're mature enough to be in the band? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, when did he like tag you in? How could you tell you were ready?
Well, puberty, I suppose, was even, it could have been, I ended up joining the band when I got into a school called the Las Vegas Academy of the Performing Arts, LVA.
Oh, excellent school.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough to get in the first year of the guitar major program, and they were offering guitar. Bill Swick was coming over, and they now had this major, and I was in 8th grade, and all sights on going to Valley High School, playing football like my brother, which I did, and just figuring it out. And just like in the 4th quarter, which kind of answers the question about puberty too, is in the 4th quarter I met a girl that I liked, and she was going to LVA for drama, for theater. So I was like, oh, I have to go to LVA, me and this girl, we're going to be together forever, like this is like, we got to do this. And, I liked her.
And surely you are, right? You're married with children now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's wonderful. And so I auditioned and I got in. I thankfully got in. I don't know if I deserved to get in, but that first year I kind of skipped out on the part of the test, and Mr. Swick saw something in me and was like, I find out I got accepted. So in that same time of being a freshman and kind of growing up into a rock and roller and playing guitar every single day, I was ready to join the band. I think it was like a week before my 16th birthday. And we were playing at a bar that I wasn't even supposed to be at. I had to walk in, get on the stage, and then walk out. So it was like around that time where I started going to LVA, and I got to learn every single day how to play guitar under Mr. Swick. So then he's like, I'm taking you. You're in now.
So it was a rite of passage.
Yeah,
then probably the puberty. So now you've joined the ranks of like AC/DC and Van Halen as far as like brother fronted.
I think it was like a master plan on my brother's part, though. He's like, I'm gonna get my little brother, I'm gonna get him to play guitar for me, we're gonna sing songs. And I'm like, I came along for the ride. Sometimes frustratingly, I'm like, oh my god, what the F, bro? Or this is a challenging business to be in. But for the most part, it's awesome. I've been happy to rock alongside my brother for practically 2 decades now.
So how did the structure of the band come together? And when I'm talking about the structure, I'm not talking about like you're going to play drums and you're going to play guitar. I'm talking about, how did you guys decide or know who the primary songwriter was going to be? And how did you know who was going to be the one who came up with riffs? Or can you say honestly that all of you do the mutual writing and stuff? Like, how did you guys fall into your little individual areas?
Well, I suppose when being in a band, it most times revolves around the song itself. And so, who are the songwriters of the band? We've worked with some really talented songwriters, as musicians and otherwise. But, my brother and I really, he would write the words to a lot of my guitar. and we would structure songs that way and then present them. And that kind of dictates how the songs are created, is like, where did they come from, and then how did they build upon that. So that kind of builds the structure of who's singing the songs and who's performing them and writing them. And that has been majority of our careers. Yes, we've worked with a lot of songwriters, and as I mentioned, we had some amazing band members in the past that we would write entire albums together with, and they all left their taste on the band. And but primarily it's been my brother and I, and the music that we feel and we want to get across. So that's essentially the foundation. It's like me and him, and then we've been blessed over the years with so many different lineups and different guys who have all supported and added to the business and to the band and the music in their own special way.
And so, speaking of the business of music, I wanted to touch on a little bit on the record deal, because we've covered this extensively in the show multiple times, where we've talked about kind of the good, bad, and indifferent of getting record contracts and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm assuming that the deal that you have is a 360 deal.
With our label right now, no. It is not. It is not a 360 deal.
Okay.
Which is, which kind of leads into maybe the question of how we make money on the road, how we make money as musicians, and how we get to keep rocking out with all these amazing different musicians over the years and chase our dreams and be able to say, hey guys, we want a song like this. Hey guys, this is what we're feeling. And we've been able to consistently do that. And then, it's led into a touring career,
mm-hmm.
and that's where we focus. That's where a lot of the income will come in from,
And so we're going to talk about touring here in a minute, but just so for our listeners, 360 deals are literally deals, record contracts that kind of cover a variety of different incoming revenue streams. We've talked about it before on the show. And they have goods and bads to them, like anything. And so when we're talking about the structure of the record label, and again, you guys can go back to those episodes and you can hear us talk in detail about it. And I'm not going to bog everybody down with details today. When it sounds as if that the way that you guys make your bread and butter, as far as the creators, as far as the musicians, as far as the people who are writing and putting out the music, mm-hmm. is predominantly from touring and merch, I'm assuming.
Yes, you're right on the money with that.
Okay. Now, are in the record, and I'm not looking for numbers, and you might not be able to disclose this, is the profit margin better when you tour, or is it that the record label just is kind of hands off on the touring? Like, how do those expenses and stuff work without giving me numbers and not disclosing more than you can?
Right. So it definitely is more lucrative for us to get on the road and make money and push our art and sell merchandise. Yeah. There's a great possibility always of, having a international, on social media, an international brand. I know there's a lot of artists who are able to do that, and they don't necessarily have to tour. So it's a really interesting, I think it's different for everybody how it kind of works. But yeah, in our personal case right now, it has been that when we tour, we get paid, we get paid to play our shows. And so it's, that's really like a main focus. But then there's so many other avenues. If your record deals and you're publishing, and you as an artist, if maybe a unsigned musician is listening, there's so many ways to position yourself if you have the foresight to do so. It's such a complicated, or the advice, or you're guided to do so. In a lot of cases that I've found in talking with a lot of musicians over the years at many different levels, it's a very challenging career to navigate.
Yeah. And everybody, thinks that rock and roll is all sex, drugs, and rock and roll all the time. And,
Only on the weekends.
Only on the weekends, right? After the show, but not before, because you got to have your shit right for the show. But we've talked to Stanley Soares on here, who's the sound engineer for Megadeth, a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show. And he's also ran sound for many rock bands. And he's talked about how touring has completely changed. Back in the 80s, it was just, pussy and girls and you just kind of, everything's just kind of set up and it's willy-nilly. And now, it's when the show is over, the equipment is broken down, like shit is coming down immediately because it's got to be crated up and they're go to the next thing. And you don't really have that freedom of running around and being wild rock stars, because the business has turned into such more of a formalized business of everything kind of coming and going, And so when you're talking about all of this and how you touched on that people think that it's just, it's just an easy career, like Money for Nothing by Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Get Your Chicks for Free was written about people who thought that the music business was not really music business. So what was it that originally wanted to drive you to even be in a band? Was it just the fact that you're like, hey, girls, and I like playing music? Or was it, I get off on being on stage, or what was it? And now that you are a rock star, do you ever go, fuck, I should have been a doctor? You know what I'm saying? Like now that you saw it coming up to it, because that's what everybody wants. I want to get fucking signed. I want to get fucking signed. Yeah. And then now you're signed. Now you're in the machine, right? Yeah. So do you ever go, great choice, or I don't know, maybe med school?
Yeah. The thought has crossed my mind, in times of frustration, like, oh, not necessarily I wish I would have done that, but could I have done that? Like, if I would have put as much, it's just a genuine curiosity of like, could I have done that? Like, maybe I could have, if rock and roll wasn't my calling, or if music wasn't what just pulled me my entire life. But yeah, there are certain times, but for the most part, it is a struggle, definitely. But it's very rewarding to be able to be, just have music around you at all times, and still have the hope of creating a song. And yeah, having girls enjoy what you enjoy to do is one of the most wonderful things as well.
Is that what we're calling it now?
I know that's such a nice way of putting it. Having girls enjoy what I do,
and enjoying what we like to do together.
Yeah.
So that's been. So how could we complain?
Right.
There's definitely some. You dream really big, and then you watch it happen to people that are really, to bands. You see it happening. It's not just an idea of the past of like rock stardom or multi-million dollar, and it's out there, and it's definitely happening. So there's always this chase of like, yes, we want our new record to be the most successful record we've ever done, and the most well received and understood and appreciated. And I guess that's the whole journey of it all, which is fun, and what we're grateful to keep doing. But yeah, there's definitely been a lot of times where we've been frustrated and like, oh, wow, that if only that check had one more zero on it,
And I think that's the part that people forget, is that it's no matter what you do, you always have to continue to chase your dream, because there's always another hurdle that you have to get over or whatever. And technology is going to change and things are going to change. 20 years ago, people thought streaming was bullshit, except David Bowie, which we covered in episode number 20. And now look how much, it is. So you guys have built a very strong relationship with your fans. And of course, growing up as, and I'm speaking for myself and Zoe only, as 80s babies, our interaction with, especially, well, I only remember a time with MTV, but especially pre MTV, where it was like you saw the album cover and that was it. And you didn't have any interaction with the fan. You could, if you were Kiss, of course, you started the fan club, and that, helped get things going. But there wasn't the ability where, like, basically tour was the only way that you could see the people, or maybe having like a metal magazine of some kind.
Right.
So when you're looking at social media, and I always see you guys on Facebook where people will tag you and you guys will respond and you're very interactive with your fans. How do you think that social media has helped you and hindered you? And how do you try to keep a relationship cultivated with your fans so that even though they're not like kicking it with you,
Yeah.
they're still interacting with you? It could be like, oh my God, that's fucking awesome. Ryan responded to me or whatever.
Yeah, that you just laid out the challenge of, hey, do you want to do it? Do you want to be a professional musician and an artist? Figure these things out, and do your best at it, and keep trying to figure it out. I think there's some bands and musicians who have figured it out more so. And, at times my brother and I have been on more so the struggling end of figuring out, of navigating the business. And it's been a challenge, but I keep saying that. I keep mentioning that it is a challenge, so it's, how do we keep our fans connected while we're not touring and we're waiting? And how do we find ways to stay in touch online and bring a part of our lives onto the computer screen so that they can feel connected, with also just being true. I know all my guys that are with us, Nick Bedrosian, my brother Adrian, Joe Connor, we all love playing live too. So there's this balance of like, just, hey, friends and fans, like, hang on till the next time we come through your town, and we jump in from time to time. But I know there's also very lucrative ways of promoting your music and your brand. A lot of bands do it, so we try.
What is the least favorite part of the music business for you?
Liars.
Ooh, okay. So hold on before you finish that sentence. So we interviewed Michael Cimino.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Cimino, of course, is a star of Love, Victor. He is also the star of Annabelle Comes Home, and he also does music. And so we were talking about the difference between the movie television business versus the music business. And he said the music business is like the fucking wild, wild west. He's like, there's, where the television and film industry, everything is, unionized, and everything is very much like, exactly what you're getting, and this is how much you're going to pay them.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the music side, it's just like, okay, well, this producer might say X, and then this producer might say X, or then they want more points coming off of it for something. And he was talking about how it's just like all over the fucking place. And he mentioned in there about the fact that he comes across some very dishonest people in the music industry. So I wanted to interject that. And I don't have the episode number off top of my head, but you can go to our YouTube channel or our podcast channel and find it, or our website, Finances Other F Word. So please expand on the liar comment, because I'm very curious.
Well, our industry is it hyper focuses a lot of the key components and the players that make up, how the wheels function and turn. One day is one thing, and then the next week it can be the complete opposite. And it's just, what's hot and what's not, or what opinion you feel. It's a scary thing. It's so subjective. It's just, these guys, there's a lot of people in the industry, and no disrespect to what people have done in the past, but there's this consistent changing of the guard in a scenario of, there's certain people that your whole career is kind of just based off of their opinion of it, and so there's also, because of contracts or because of certain scenarios, that you can't necessarily do anything else, but if someone thinks you're a certain way, that's what you have to do. Or what you can't do because someone thinks a certain way of you. And it's a strange thing, it is the wild west, and it's mixed in with being at the cool kids table too, of a lot of things are controlled by certain groups that have more so power and say on making things happen. And through all of that description of the landscape, those
Hey guys, Mel O here chiming in on this part. In the middle of the interview, for some reason, Ryan's screen completely froze on Zoe and my side. And we sat there for a couple of minutes trying to figure out what our next move was, since Ryan was running all of the production. And like Ryan mentions, we just all came to the conclusion that the rock gods were trying to tell him to stop talking about said subject. Okay.
Whoa.
Okay, Ryan's back with us. That was so weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
So just like my screen just went blank. So I'm hoping that we're back on now. That must have.
Yeah, it did come back that you were recording again, by the way.
Yeah,
So,
on Zoom. Yeah, and you froze. You were like that. And Zoe and I were going, he froze, right?
Maybe it was
like at a dramatic pause. I don't know what's happening right now.
Maybe it was the rock gods kind of telling me to watch my mouth. I told you, ladies, there's certain things, that we can't necessarily discuss in rock and roll right now, and how we navigate being assigned artists and with our art, and you can only hope that everything works out and everybody has the same visions, and then, projects can take place, and that's what you hope for, and that's what you strive for. But yeah, I hope I don't cut out again, because that was strange.
Yeah, no, that was okay. So we were talking about how the music industry has some dishonest people, but we're just going to leave that alone.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to some of your fans that are on Facebook, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Quickly. So I already mentioned Sheila Ann. Whoop whoop, Sheila.
I'm gonna grab water while you do shout outs.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Neil from Get It Fido. Hello. Kathy Parker. Whoop whoop. Dr. J is in the house. Dr. J has sent some love.
Yes, he was on episode 328. We interviewed him about the Rock Academy of the Performing Arts. He is the chief rock officer.
And he's checked in and sent some fire and some rock sign.
Okay, wait. That wasn't the rock sign.
Did I do it wrong?
Yes, you did. You did this like you were almost there. Put your thumb over there you go, Zoe. Okay. You would never know that British birthed metal, right? Go ahead.
Well, Eddie Fox. Hi, Eddie. Hello back to Eddie Fox. And hi to Johnny Perral, who has quite rightly said this is a great show with great info. I mean, Johnny, I couldn't agree with you more.
Nope.
So thank you, my friend.
All right. What did I miss?
Yes. So we talked tons of shit about everything awesome. And I'm finally, all of a sudden, my chat came up in Twitch, finally. So
we have someone on our YouTube asking who you ladies are. Did you guys?
Ooh. Hello.
Wait, let me sit up straight for this one. So my name is Mel O, and I am the host of Finance is the Other F Word and the author of Finance is the Other F Word, Another F Word to Love. I love the word fuck. I am also a certified financial planner practicing, and a rocker chick. Boom. Zoe.
And I am Zoe. I am the British sidekick, just here for my looks and my accent, let's face it. Recovering attorney, lover of all things pussy, and that's cats. Okay, just to be sure. That's us.
It depends on how much she drinks. Let's be real. It depends on how much she drinks. Sometimes she might, she might. This is Vegas. All right. This is what happens in Vegas. So yes. And you guys can see financeisothereffort.com at our website. You can see all of our episodes, and you can see, a whole bunch of other stuff, and all of our links to all of our stuff is there as well. So navigating the music industry, as far as with the ever-changing scale of facts I guess like how the rules keep changing because depending on the person you're dealing with from minute to minute. So when you're going on tour, since we know that touring is one of your major revenue streams, you're probably your highest profit margin. How does that work? Is it where, because obviously you're covering, well, I don't know, you're covering the expenses as far as lighting and sound guys and moving all your, your stuff, break in and break down and grabbing the venues and booking the venues. All of that's coming out of your paycheck before you guys make a dime, correct?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay. And so this is very important for people to know, because again, a lot of people are W-2 people where they show up to work and they get paid money. And then they're like, okay, cool. I go home and now I turn on reality television or some shit like that. But the thing is that the way that the record companies do it is everything that is used on tour, food, catering, travel, gas, people moving your shit, putting up your signage, all of that stuff is actually coming out of the pocket of the artists. And then they hope and they pray that the fans turn out for the show and, are digging the vibe and everything. And so we were talking a little bit off camera about the importance of your fans and what they do and how they help support the band. And now that they have kind of the lens of which to frame that, where they understand that everything is coming out of their pocket up front first, explain a little bit about how important the fan base is.
It's everything.
Mm-hmm.
The fan base is everything, especially for us with our fan base. They are, I know there's a lot of bands who have very supportive fan bases and people who become their friends and the friends that become family. And it's all in the name of rock and roll and the music. And there's a complete respect and appreciation that goes both ways, where they want us to sing more and they also help make sure that that's what we're able to do, and we don't have to find other ways that take up too much time to make ends meet or to facilitate and be able to live our lives when we're not chasing the dream and touring. So the fan base is everything. Everybody who comes out to the shows, and when they buy a t-shirt and or they upgrade and they buy the VIP, it's mind-boggling how much that is what we depend on, and we try our best. I mean, my brother and I especially, like, we're so grateful sometimes to embarrassment, because there are people who we have met that love our band, but we also just like them as people too, and we respect them as people, so they become our friends. But then they also have this very fan embrace and like love, and I'm not sure what the word is, but just their appreciation for us keeps us going,
Mm-hmm.
and they getting, hey, we got a room for you, we know you guys are going to New Mexico, well, we got a room for you right down the street from the venue, or we spoke to your tour manager and we're just getting a room for you guys. It's like, that's awesome. That all those, they all expenses that the tour has to also get paid for as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so the only way we're really allowed to do it is because our fans get us to the venues and get us doing it.
So during COVID, we had a lot of conversations about virtual concerts because, of course, everybody thought we were going to be locked down forever. And there was this people like myself. I've been to probably, I think, literally 6 or 7 concerts this year already, because I'm just like, let me out. Like, I've been fucking ready to go. So I haven't really heard a lot about virtual concerts ever since then. However, if you're just looking at it from a profit margin standpoint, you guys, the ability to make money off of just virtual shows, it just expands exponentially. There's no travel, you stream, which is relatively inexpensive. And so the thing is that is that something that you think that you guys would entertain? Have you done that? Do you think that you would ever do that? And then, of course, you are able to reach more people.
Yeah, we definitely did that. We were right on the money. Right around COVID, we started working with a new manager, and he kind of started really directing us into this. The reason that I'm hosting this conversation in this podcast was, and we're streaming to Twitch and we're on our YouTube, and this is a result of pivoting in the land of COVID. And we also, because of another great friend of ours who's worked with our band forever, has a stage and had a facility, we created streaming concerts. And we it was pretty new age. It was a virtual, we make sure the internet connection's good, make sure that it's plugged in, and we're rocking out, and you guys are buying this live stream that goes on at this time. And it was, we're going crazy, and then the song stops, and we're just like, oh, we're doing a virtual concert. So, and that was very helpful. It's supplemented a lot of, the costs that we weren't able to, cover, because as business owners, my brother and I, there's costs for the business every single month, and when that happened, when COVID took place, that's how we had to pivot. So we did 2 to 3 in 2020, and then we actually might have one planned maybe this year. This might be a leak for any of the people who are listening. We may or may not have one planned for this year for a certain anniversary of an album of ours. So it's a great idea. We did it right in the beginning, and we're revisiting it again. So.
And when we're talking about the virtual concerts, when we were talking with Stanley, one of the things we were talking about, and it was at the height of COVID, where there were so many lighting companies and there were so many sound people who just tour and tour and tour, and the tour covers all their expenses. So they don't really have a house. Because there's no point in maintaining a house or an apartment when you're on the road, 330 days a year. Yep. And so we saw that the music industry, as well as many other industries, kind of started imploding, because all of a sudden the live interaction and that revenue stream was taken away from them. Yeah. And a lot of them didn't have backup plans. And so now, as everybody's hitting the road, we're starting to see where all of a sudden we have kind of a vacuum in the industry where everybody's trying to get powered back up. But as the artist, it's nice that you have the ability, that it's not like you have specifically where you do sound. You can perform, and then your fans can still be in contact with you, and they can, be sitting at their chairs, like, screaming, which I'm sure they were, even though the song stopped. I'm sure they were all screaming and losing their shit, They were
excited.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be.
Exactly.
I remember everybody was posting that night, concert in the living room, beer in hand, feet up, and just like me on the TV, my friends sending me a picture of me on the TV screen, because we were, streaming it to Twitch. And so it was fun, By no means, though, let me clarify that there's nothing like a real concert, so right. I wouldn't suggest artists thinking that, that's the most successful way to get your art out, is like, let me try and do virtual concerts. No, you got to get out there and you got to rock to the people.
Right. Mm-hmm. And how else would you be able to see Zoe's tits if you only did virtual concerts? I mean, let's be honest.
Man, I can still do it. I can still do it virtually.
But but they can't see you. It's not the same interaction. So transitioning real quick before we turn it over to Zoe. Yeah. So your new album that you guys are working on.
It has a title. We just haven't announced the title, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah.
No. Are you going to tell us the title, or are you just still teasing us?
Still teasing.
Oh, okay.
Oh dear.
Yes. If you want to call it Finance is the Other F Word, that's totally fine. I will allow it. But there's a lot of overarching themes that are pertinent to the conversations we've had today. So can you touch on a little bit about the album titled Finance is the Other F Word? Fans, you heard it here. He can't read Nick now. He can't read Nick. That's the name of it.
Yeah. AKA Zoe Juice, which was another.
Okay. Do you girls want me to tell you the album right now?
Yes.
Right here?
Yes.
Okay. So the name of the album is...
Oh, you fucker.
You.
I said it.
All right. Okay. So that was three words. Can you sound it out? Sounds like. Right.
You know, what's funny is it's actually 4, but
okay, but I think you only beeped 3 times. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that and edit. Okay, all right, there's the 4th one. So fine. But so talk a little bit about the overarching theme of the album. Give us, for our listeners, I'm sure your fans are familiar with it or maybe have been, but for our listeners, educate them on tell us a little bit about what we can expect from this new album.
And this is one of the great times when, I love how my brother talks about our music, because he is the piece, and it's coming from his soul. I get to strum the strings and play the parts of the songs we write, but he's the one singing the words. And so the words and the subject matter of this record are pretty directed towards a lot of the isms of society, and our take on the hierarchies of life, and the games of control, and what people's motives are, and what we've noticed is, like, even in our opinions on how the world may work or may not, it's always been, like, based on some kind of money or some kind of financial change of hands or power. So there's there's some tones on who that may be, or what that is, or how much it evokes emotion in us.
Yeah,
I
and
know what it's about.
we talk about that in almost every show, as we try to, for fans of Otherwise who are not familiar with our show, we teach about financial literacy and finances within the context of music and media and current events, because there's a lot more to understanding money than balancing your checkbook or understanding what a stock does. It's way, way more detailed than that. And just like Ryan had talked about, you need to understand who the power players are and where the money is coming from, and who is the actual people pulling the strings. And if we get lost in what's the newest stock to buy, or the best stock to buy, or XYZ, you miss the big picture, because everything is connected and everything works off of each other. And so that's the balance that you have to strike. That's the knowledge that you need. And so with that, I will turn it over to Zoe.
Okay, well, before I ask you about what I want to ask you about, I just want to give a few more shout outs from Facebook Live. Tanya Nix is loving the new name of your album, the name of your new album. She thinks Beep, 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 Beep is fucking the way to go. So thank you, Tanya. Right. Sheila Ann also thinks that's a great name. And hi to Chris Allen, and then one of your biggest fans, Eddie Fox, who's been a fan since 2013. And you're a great band with a true talent. We agree, Eddie. Thank you.
Good.
So thank you, everyone. Keep commenting or ask any questions that you want to. I would like to ask you, Ryan, about the nonprofit that you started, Life by Music. Can you tell me a bit more about it?
I absolutely will. But before I do that, there's a comment from YouTube that I can see, and it's for you ladies. And it says, are you familiar with Produce Like a Pro? You ladies have some info that might be well received over there.
I am not. Is that a platform?
I am not either. I don't know.
Or is it some kind of sexual?
Maybe it's a podcast.
It's like OnlyFans for podcasters. I'm not hating it. I'm not hating.
I'm not hating it either.
They're not the only ones working, y'all. Okay.
Your guys' the profit margins would definitely increase.
Right? Yeah. So is the ask said commenter, first of all, thank you for asking a question of us. That's so sweet of you.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that a platform? Because I'm totally I'm intrigued.
So we have it here. Warren Hart, music production education. I'm gonna check that out.
Let me write that down right now. Warren.
That's a lovely thing about our friends and our fans and people who tune in, is they become friends, and they're from all over, and it's still to this day a very positive exchange of people who we get to talk to.
They're givers, not just takers, right? It
Oh my
sounds like.
goodness. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, totally.
and when we're done off camera, I'm going to get that information from you, Ryan. And I appreciate that, listener. So thank you.
Listener, just Lisa.
Just Lisa. Nice.
Just Lisa.
Mel, do you know someone called Dawn Dyer? Because Dawn says rock goddess in the house. I'm not sure if she means you or me or
Both of you. It's
both of us, but
it's plural.
thank you, Dawn.
Yes. Goddess. Correct. But
She did say goddess. If she'd have said God, then I would have clearly known who she was talking about, but it's gone all female on us.
hey, like
so.
we don't have to get caught up in pronouns. All right. I'll take
No,
God.
you'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll all take it.
We'll
And
assume
then,
it for both of us.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm about as rock as.
She's not. She's not.
Oh, okay. Just to be clear, Dawn Dyer says, that's me. That was a hi for Ryan. Okay, Dawn, it's okay. We still love you. Okay, but that was, you're a rock goddess, all right?
There you go.
We're claiming that. We're claiming that title as well.
Yeah.
And then Nathan Eldridge says, that's my boy, Ryan.
That's
So-
my boy. That's my
Yes, my boy.
yeah.
So
quite a
anyway,
few people
getting
have
back
told
to
me.
my tiny question is, I'm all about the nonprofits. So tell me about yours.
Wonderful. We started Life by Music as a motto and a mantra that we would, it was just one we were kind of talking about becoming a doctor or a lawyer back in the day, and in those college days when it was really time to decide. It was, I couldn't take any more electives, and I had to really start picking the classes for, okay, this is where it's going. But the band was so big locally, and our music, there was something to it, and it felt so right to chase it. And so people would ask, like, what are you doing? Like, and I just would say, Life by Music, Life by Music, bro, Life by Music, baby. Like that's kind of how it started, in the back of a college party, and then it was kind of just like our motto, what we kind of lived by. And it was like, no matter what, girls would come and go and band members would come and go, the dream of living a life by music was, and it's been a reflection of our personal pursuit with Otherwise and everything we're doing with Otherwise. And as we started reaching out to more people and more fans, we wanted to create something, another way of sharing music in a positive way, and just shining light on how magical music is and how powerful it is. And then we had like a shirt, to represent, like, hey, this is a movement. Like, it's about connecting. It's about working together and all that esoteric rock and roll, hopeful, romantic stuff. And I was suggested by a very successful man and a mentor to me, that I should turn this initiative of spreading the positivity of empowering factors of music. You should turn it into a 501c3 nonprofit. And, it was, I was kind of like, wow, like, I love playing guitar and I love being the lead guitarist of Otherwise, but man, I would love to run a nonprofit. Like, it would that, and it just seemed so right. So I got into the process, and I looked into it and made it happen. As almost, I wish I would have studied more about it in college, but we were busy rocking and rolling. And, I didn't necessarily realize that one day I'd also become the executive director of a 501c3. So we got that tax exemption status, and we slowly started building, like, okay, what is it? I've been asked so many times, like, oh, Life by Music, it's white light and, daisy flowers. Like, what are you talking about, hippie? And I'm like, no. Like, there is something more to this with, how I was given the chance to play music at a performing arts academy when I really maybe shouldn't have, I don't know, but it gave me an opportunity, and it changed my life so much so, and helped my brother and I achieve our dreams. And And so it kind of became like, okay, well, Life by Music is going to be a reflection of that possibility that happened to me. Like I'd like to, on a grand level, be able to have systems in place, like educational systems, to help people and humans and young at-risk kids who are practically, like all kids now, are at risk because of society and how crazy it is. And it's kind of like, okay, like let's refocus on the music, let's refocus on the arts, and try our best to get instruments in kids' hands. So
is that the core? What at the core is getting instruments to kids that need them or want them?
Yeah, totally.
Do you provide grants? I mean, how does it work?
So we've slowly I'm sorry I didn't grab a copy of it, but we have this small it's called Guitar Magic, and it's a coloring book. And we initially created, two of my really good friends here in town, amazing artists that I grew up with. I had this idea of how to teach music. Like, okay, we're Life by Music's now a nonprofit, so we've got to share music. And I mean, still to this day, I take private students that want to play guitar with me. But before we signed a record deal, I would teach guitar. I signed up, and so it was kind of a scenario where, okay, how do I teach music? Like, I know how to play guitar, so I want to be able to teach it. So we got to find a way to do it, and we got to find a really unique way to do it. So we created Guitar Magic, which, the 7 notes in music, there's an animal and a virtue attached to every single note. So we have the attitude alligator, the bravery bear, the compassionate cow, disciplined duck, equality elephant, friendship frog, and the gratitude gorilla. Okay.
How cool.
So yeah, it's a booklet, and we were able to print it and, put into production this it's a product, but it's also like a musical resource to inspire kiddos. And so that's what we've done. We've gone into classes and we've done these outreach programs. Like, really, we're just visiting, but we're also music teachers who rock and roll for a living. Right. So it's kind of exciting. And we hope that it kind of, I remember seeing a gentleman my senior year in high school at LVA, and he came in and he was the head of guitar for a university in Texas. And he came in with long hair, and he had a distortion guitar, and he played, and he said, and I saw him face to face, and him playing guitar and letting his hair down, and he was making a living, like he was a professional. And that was like one of the first times where someone like inspired me or touched me so much to a point of where, like, it made me believe, like, actually this route is possible. Like, it's so tangible. So a part of the hope with Life by Music is that I can do that on a small level and be like the rock and roll Santa Claus for, kids, because any kid can learn music and get affected, or like get positively inspired by it. And so that's kind of what we do. And we're trying our best to create, to have the proof of concept down. And we've been to, numerous schools here in Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, San Diego, Orange County. And so we're slowly just building this program out. And then on top of that, yes, we raise funds. Like, we have an event next month. It's a 5K. It's our second annual 5K and evening concert with an added golf tournament. So it's just like a Life by Music weekend next month. And we're going to raise funds, and it's going to help us facilitate all these plans. And with the money raised, we will be buying more instruments. Like last year after the 5K, we bought instruments from Gibson Guitar, and the Gibson Gibbs Foundation gave us really amazing prices, and we were able to facilitate drop-offs to I should know this number better, 11 or 12, maybe it was 9 high schools. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but it was 60 guitars, and it was 9 different guitar music programs that were given these guitars. And, you know, when we did these drop-offs, the teachers, numerous teachers told me, hey, there's kids who can't take guitars home that want to take guitars home, and now they can. So it's all small efforts of trying to create that spark. And that's essentially what Life by Music is. And we have some really grand plans. Like, we hope to make it, but again, the industry, the music industry, and just any industry and business in itself, things are sideways, and people say, yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll make this happen. And they're liars. So just to touch back on that. So that kind of wraps it in, but it also is, regardless, the outreach is going to happen no matter what, like, because we're going to keep doing it. And it's a really positive thing. And that was a big part of the ethos of Life by Music is, you know, we are rock and roll warriors, and at times we've felt enslaved in our own art, but we keep on chugging and we keep on going. And then, you know, I like to say the manure of the music industry, the flower that grows from it is Life by Music. Yeah,
I love that. And it's so true that we all know that as far as education and the shitty education system we have here anyway, the first thing to go is always the arts, right? That gets the least amount of funding. People don't even learn music anymore, or kids don't learn music anymore. I mean, it's shocking, really. So to even just give a tiny bit towards kids in that respect is wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah, we've given out a scholarship, one scholarship so far. I don't want to give too much away from our event next month because it's somewhat of a surprise, but we have another scholarship scenario that we're announcing, and it's very exciting because it also brings good people together, you know, whereas in the music industry, you meet people who are just about money. And they will lie straight to your face, or they will be a certain type of chameleon, because that's business and it's money. But with the organization, the people that come forward and the people who want to be involved, there's so much more heart, and it's so much more like human. No, let's do this, rather than like, hey, what is the bottom line? Which it does, and there's costs for the nonprofit too. You know, that registering and all our travel and whatever else we do to pay for our online videos or the prints of our Guitar Magic booklets, it does add up. And there are, you know, we are a legitimate organization, so it's there's all kinds of interesting things. It's a wonderful thing that I'm so passionate about. So I could go on
you can
for a
tell
long time about it.
Yeah.
So how can people get access, you know, information about that?
We have a website called lifebymusic.org, and you know, and in this realm too, I'm also like personally open to speaking to anybody who's interested and has ideas or has possibilities, you know, because there's a lot of ways that we have a creative, you know, business plan, and we have an outlook for how we want to you know, run this nonprofit over the next 5 years. And so I'm willing to talk to anybody, you know. It's like, you can go to our website and there's an email, and yeah, we're here doing it.
In regards to the booklet, the coloring book, Guitar Magic, how do I get copies of that? Because I have some friends that I'm trying to make their kids into rock stars.
Yeah, I will give you some, 100%.
Okay, I might want one to color myself.
I was going to say, I might want one. I don't know if I can still be a rock star at the tender age of 49, but I'd like to try.
You can.
Well, you
I have no musical talent. But
yes, but you have an annoying accent, so I don't think you're going to make it very far.
Fuck you. It's not annoying.
That's
People
actually
love
like,
it. Respond on Facebook.
It's a perfect accent for rock and roll, you know. You don't even have to play music, you just have to talk, and people are like,
so that's what I plan to do, because as I say, I have no musical talent whatsoever. I have no rhythm, so I'll just stand up there and go, hello.
However, even British musicians know that when you sing, you have to lose the accent. Ozzy, Robert Plant, I mean, I could go on Joe Elliott. I mean, when they sing, they purposely lose the accent. That's
I
not.
don't think they. Do you think Ozzy purposely does anything? I don't.
do.
think so.
I do. I think Ozzy is way smarter than people give him credit for. Or he's Sharon's puppet. Either way, I do love me some Ozzy.
Yeah.
So for our listeners, Ryan, where can they find information on your band? I know we covered Life by Music, but where can they follow you on all your social medias, plug all your stuff? Do we have a date when the album that is financed the other effort? No. When it's gonna drop? Do we have any of that info? Plug all your stuff for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. We are so on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and practically everything. It's We Are Otherwise, and then on Facebook, just type in Otherwise, and Spotify, you could pull us up and play us there. As far as new music, we have new music ready and waiting, and we're just working out details about our album, and we will have new music out sooner than ever. You know, we're
Right.
one day closer than we were yesterday, and we're just working the inside of the industry and how things have to take place on a major level with releases. And we'll be out. We'll have new music out very soon.
And
Exciting.
yeah, and for our listeners, we'll be dropping flyers from the event. So if you're in the Las Vegas area at the time of the event, Zoe and I will be participating in the 5K. It starts early in the morning.
I will be hobbling my way around what I believe would be my first ever 5K.
I love
So
that.
come give me some support, bitches. Because
come walk with us, everybody.
Yeah,
come
yeah,
out.
come walk. You don't have to run, right? You can walk.
Exactly.
We'll be walking.
It's a fun run, and that is the complete. You know, that's the hope, is we do something healthy in the morning, and then we celebrate at night. You know, we do something community driven. Everybody, let's get out. Last year was a wonderful success, and we're hoping for the same this year. And then we'll be rocking out that night. And for golfers out there, there's a golf tournament coming up that very next day. So like I mentioned, it's the Life by Music weekend. And I look forward to having you ladies out for the weekend.
Oh,
Yeah,
you'll have us.
Yeah. And you can take it back. Yeah. She's always delayed on that. And so for listeners out there who might not be familiar with the show, we are Finance is the Other F Word, and we have quite a bit of shows out. This will be our 377th episode. And
Imagine that.
That's
I'm
amazing.
talking 377 times.
yes, and it's been a fuck ton of work, but you know, it's one of those things. It's a passion project, right? I mean, well, it's more than a passion project, but so it's Finance is the Other F Word, and you can find us on Instagram at Finance is the Other F Word. You can find me on TikTok at FTOFW_podcast. Zoe's totally interrupting my flow.
Sorry, I'm trying to interact with the fans, man, and I don't want to miss anyone out. So you finish your bullshit, and then I'll end.
I'm plugging our shit. How is that bullshit? Fuckers. Anyway, so we talk about finances. Like I said, within the media framework, we cover a lot of different topics like what does defunding the police mean, the finances behind that. And then we talk about, you know, the cost of the Ukraine invasion on a global scale. And then we talk about David Bowie and his Bowie bonds and how he was able to issue bonds and buy back all of his music rights. And we talk about hypnosis, buying up music catalogs. We talk, you know, we run the gambit, but we're always entertaining. And if you dug us, please check out our show as well. And now let's get on to Zoe's bullshit.
It's not bullshit. I'm just letting the fans speak through me in an English accent, which
so
surely they owe me good money for. Michael Russell, shout out. Craig Strohecker.
Yes.
He says, rumor has it the new album is unbelievable.
Rumor serves correct.
Rumor. Beep, 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 beep. It's so good. Yeah. And then Tanya Nix, who is our #1 fan mail, she says, you ladies are awesome. Yeah, we are. Thank you. And she says she's looking forward for the next album and the run. Thank you for this. Ryan, will you wear a Santa suit?
Oh,
it's gonna be hot.
It's gonna be very hot.
I know, but still, you could wear like a hot pants.
Oh, right.
Yes,
Zoe and I are going to the same place at the same time. I'm thinking Speedo. She's thinking hot pants. Because technically, if you're just wearing pants or shorts or Speedos and a Santa hat totally qualifies.
You're Santa.
Yeah. I mean, it's
That's
just a
rock and roll Santa right
suggestion
there.
for you.
I might have to find some Santa Claus shorts for the run.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
And then I'll be hobbling behind you as you run, go, wait for me. But that's just weird.
That is weird. That's a weird note to end the entire thing on. But Ryan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah,
And sharing
it's so
with
much
us.
fun.
Yeah, and for your fans, I hope that we at least gave you guys something new to hear that you haven't heard from, the normal stuff. And with that, for my show, we are out this bitch.
Boom.
Cheerio.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.